Welcome to ANZCRL Combined Racing League replay of the 1988 Monaco Grand Prix we did on Automobilista 2 back on April the 8th of 2023. So we had 39 laps, half race distance was being reduced from the 78 laps due to the low entry numbers of only the 7 cars. But it was definitely still a test for most of the drivers with the walls. We had the damage scale at performance impact in at medium. So there was still damage if you hit the wall. And these cars obviously so fragile being an open wheeler. So we'll have a look at the practice and the qualifying times that we ran. We had 2 practice sessions, one on the Friday night before the event, which was run on the Saturday. And you can see Christopher Razor in the number 6 Williams Judd smashed out in the green track as well, 119.543, which is pretty fast with a green track. But you can see then when we come to a medium rubbered up track for the practice session 2. Christopher again has gone a little faster with a 118.7 with John Slow in second, with Dado up in 3rd position, not too far behind, and just edging out Sado in 4th position in the Benetton Ford. You can see Commander Cirrus here for his first time on AMS2 in the number 29 Lola LaRouche Ford. He did a nice time with a 120.222 as well for his first outing. And then on to qualifying. Christopher absolutely had that Williams Judd number 6 flying in an 118.459 to take pole position away from Dado Racer, who looked like he had pole for a little while in the number 12 McLaren Honda. And then Sado, as always, very fast in qualifying trim. In 3rd position in the Benetton Ford, outpacing John Slow in the number 30 Lola LaRouche Ford. And then his teammate, Commander Cirrus, just behind him on the 3rd row with Woody Lizard in the number 9 Zach Speed. And Timmy 82 in the 2nd of the Williams, trying to get to grips with it with a 120.520. So I'm your host, Neil Haynes, this evening for the replay. And we'll go straight now to the gameplay and we'll get this race up and running. And here we go. So we'll better press play. We've got Christopher, as we know, on pole in the Williams. See what he can do off the start, and Dado's light up the rear tyres and has got an absolute amazing run. John Slow getting sideways off the start as well, but Christopher has lost pole and now he's following Dado in 2nd position, and he's got John Slow right behind him, and Sado looks like he's holding off a very hard charging Commander Cirrus in the 2nd of the Lola LaRouche Fords. And it's Dado around into the Grand Hotel hairpin in the lead of this race. So a good run from Dado as he comes flying through the tunnel. As does Sado and Commander Cirrus. They're coming out into the Neuville chicane. Hard on the brakes. Oh, it's been checked up. Oh, there's been an incident. Woody Lizard into the back of Commander Cirrus as well, and Timmy's gone straight through as well. Reports are that his tyres were not fit correctly, and they were loose, but it looks like Woody Lizard has been able to get through without too much damage, but unfortunately, Commander Cirrus doesn't look healthy at all. So a little bit of a check-up there. Looks like Commander Cirrus was going Saturdays into the pits. So he's come into the pit lane. And obviously, and there's Cirrus in as well, so both have damage. But back up at front here on lap 2, Dado is absolutely cleared out as he's coming down into Mazenay. Through Casino, actually no, through now into the Grand Hotel, sorry. Into Portier and down through the famous tunnel here in Monaco. Christopher Razor just getting into a groove to see if he can peg some ground, but Dado is absolutely cleared out very nice and early with a 1.3 second lead in this McLaren. Famous colours driven by Alan Pross and Ayrton Senna back in the day. But it looks like Christopher's starting to find his mojo as John Slow negotiates through Razkaz. Tim is in the pit lane, hopefully to get those tyres fitted properly. And here comes John Slow in the leading Lola LaRousse Ford, the number 30 car. And Sato in that own lone beam Benetton. He's out of the pits now. He's been in there for a while as Woody Lizard is yet to come on through. Here he comes now in the Zach Speed number 9. Lucky to get away with a damage. He went into the back of Commander Cirrus on turn 1. But here we go, Christopher. It's going to be such a tough task around the streets here of Monaco. We know how tight it is for overtaking. What a fabulous sight it is. You may just take an opportunity now just to go on board for a lap around Monaco here with Christopher as he's chasing down Dado Racer. So enjoy, turn it up. A lap around Monaco on board Christopher Razor in the Williams Judd number 6, and we've just, while we're there, Woody Lizard has visited the pit lane and he's out in 5th position in between both Commander Cirrus and Sato. Sato in that famous Benetton Ford. These are the nice 1988 liveries that you can find on Race Department from A Fry. And make sure if you do download them that you do drop him a little bit of a donation in his link that he's got, because it's well worth it. It's such a fabulous job. I believe the driver helmets are probably the next thing to come to us after they weren't visible for some time, and Rizo been able to fix that issue up. But we'll get back to the front here because it's absolutely on between Dado and Christopher. Christopher's found that extra pace, now slowly get to the back of Dado. And brings back memories of It might have been the 91 or 92 Monaco Grand Prix between Ayrton Senna and Nigel Mansell. When Nigel Mansell had to come in for a late pit stop, came in behind the McLaren driver and entertained everyone viewing the final 14 laps or so it was. As you can see, maximum steering lock just to get around the Grand Hotel hairpin. And very important here, as you can see Dado getting that power on out of Portier, just getting a little bit of wheel spin. Commander Cirrus now back into pit lane for a damage repair, so this should see Woody Lizard maybe take 4th position. Yes, it does. Or is that a extra? I don't think it's an extra stop from. Oh, a bit of a brush of a wall from Christopher. Hope that doesn't give him too much damage. Some of these side glances, they can get away with a little bit of it. Dado's doing the same thing. So it's very tough if these drivers keep touching the wall. And we've got lap 7 of 39, so there's still plenty of racing to go. Here, half race distance for the special event here at ANZCRL that we did the 1988 Monaco Grand Prix. Was planned for 78 laps, and due to only the 7 driver entries, it was reduced to half race distance. So at least we could get a run going. And I'm sure drivers will be back for more for next year when we introduce a newer model of Formula 1 car each year. We'll add different challenges as we go. Now in this actual race we had a joker, you could say a joker lap, where they had able to utilise 3 track cuts if they wished, before they served the drive-through penalty, and the track limits we were allowing the drivers to actually shortcut the 2 chicanes, go straight through them if they want, especially the one out of the tunnel into the Neuville chicane. They could actually go straight through that. But they could only obviously do that when they're not making a position, because if they actually made a position during that off-track limit, the game will tell them to give that position back. So it was more for drivers, maybe someone like Woody Lizard, who finds himself a little bit back in the pack there, that if he wants to try and make some bit of time up, he could actually, if he wanted to, go straight through this chicane. But obviously late on, drivers didn't want to risk it because it was easy enough just to get a little bit wrong and cop a track cut penalty. Well, warning, I should say. It's not a penalty. They had the 3 available, and then if they did it the 4th time, they'd be served a drive-through, which would have to be served within 3 laps of being issued the drive-through penalty. So it was really about drivers being able to just vary it up a little bit. So of course we couldn't police if drivers actually did shortcut the chicane and utilise one of the driving track cuts warnings. We just opened it up so there was no confusion. No one can actually come out and say, well, he cut through the chicane while I was following him. So drivers had it up their sleeves if they wanted to use it near the end to secure their spots. And passing, as we know, was very hard. And just to make it clear, the drivers knew that they weren't able to use the track cut to make a position on the the driver in front, because the game will ping them for that anyway. John Sloat doing a good job in the leading Lola LaRousse. In with the leaders, he's actually the fastest driver on track with a 121.137 that previous lap around. As his teammate Commander Cirrus, who's actually a lap down, is following him at the moment. And if you you're just joining us, we did have an incident first lap corner. I mean, not the first lap. The first, or was the first lap, not first corner, sorry. Here up into the Newville chicane, right this moment here. Sato, who was in front of Cirrus in 4th position, just stopped a little bit more than what was anticipated, which was chained on. In fact, Sato avoided him, but unfortunately Woody Lizard behind was all locked up and collected the back of Commander Cirrus, which in turn pushed him into the rear of Sato. So those drivers were in pit lane early and Sato's in again. So pit stops are happening for damage by the looks of things. For these drivers. So not much action other than what's happening really up front. Watching Christopher Razor and seeing what he can do. And see if he can dispose of Dado Racer. He's obviously got the pace. He seems to be just getting held up a little bit. Dado's in the defensive mode and putting his car in the right places on this circuit. Just like in real life, track position is key here around the streets of Monaco. And just in the background, John Slow just seems to be catching that little bit every couple of laps. He sort of gains, but then he loses a little bit here and there. So it's definitely on at the moment. Could be a three-way battle before we know it. And really, we're hoping here at ANZCRL Combined Racing League that we can see many of Australian and New Zealand sim racers come and join us next year for this event. And it would be magical to see 15 or 16 cars on track, even more if we could. It would be very exciting to see how the mid-pack would fare with a lot more cars on this grid as well, because as we know, that overtaking is so hard and it can be ruthless. You've got to drive ruthless actually to try and make an overtake. There was no compulsory pit stops in this event. Tyre wear was set to just normal, as was fuel. There was no refueling allowed, so the drivers had to make sure they had enough fuel to the end. And it was something that obviously was brought to ANZCRL afterwards. Would have been good to maybe have had some tyre wear or accelerated fuel burn due to the race being shortened by half race distance. And obviously if we have to do that again next year, we will be looking at increasing the fuel or the tyre wear. As we know, Monaco can be won by qualifying and in the pits. So having a bit of strategy could work. And if it was full race distance, there would have been a few cars obviously toning down the boost on some of these cars to get to the end as well. Whereas with the shorter distance, half race distance, most would have gone flat out, one would think. And still would have been able to get to the end. The tyre wear could be an issue. Obviously, most of the drivers were on the soft slicks. Track temperature was around 45 degrees. So these bigger soft tyres could hold in, but maybe not for a full 78 lap race distance. So it'll be awesome to see if we can do a testing 78 lap race. I can vouch myself here, Woody Lizard in the Zach Speed. Car definitely found it hard after the race here. It was a very tiring and draining race. If you had to do it that distance again to do the full 78, fatigue will definitely set in as well with some of these drivers. So much concentration around this circuit is required. Memory muscle, all that sort of stuff. He comes through the casino, up into turn 5 here at Mirabeau, into the famous Grand Hotel hairpin. And then Portier. through the tunnel, all the run up to 5th gear, into, and then hard on the brakes into the Newville chicane, down into 2nd. Some may take 1st gear. Third gear, down into to back, and then we're coming down into the swimming pool complex right now. And then Razkaz famous corner just before pit entry. And then the final corner and onto the main straight. And I believe Timmy may have been retired. As I selected there, I thought I was on a bit of a wild slide, but I think Timmy's actually maybe back in the pits, to be honest. And Sato in 6th position, a lap behind alongside with Commander Cirrus, but he's starting to make a bit of inroads on Commander Cirrus. Just hovering on the 10-second mark. And it's honestly to say that you can't just come into one of these special events here at ANZCRL Combined Racing League without having sufficient practice, because they are grueling. They replicate, we try and replicate the real life events. We said this was done in April, over the Easter weekend, actually Easter Saturday. Great shot as they come flying through Lewis Chiron. See a lot of throttle input is required to manoeuvre these cars around. They're so wide with the rear tyres as well. Drivers have to just to make sure that they realise those rear wheels are out there, ready to bite those walls if they're not too careful. All drivers did actually acknowledge that and mentioned that in a lot of their practice they did realise that, keep tagging the wall as they're going through. Especially, I think the main corner was through Portier, but just as we're coming up shortly into the entry into the tunnel, that was one of the walls where they had signed that they'll tag the inside wall here with their rear tyres as they're trying to negotiate through that part of the corner. And having a decent fuel run, or at least some sort of inclination of how the car performs as the fuel burn drops, is also very, very important in these cars. And also the tyre life, because obviously in the real life they didn't pit. As Dado went really wide out through Razkaz, he was lucky to get away with that. If Christopher was just that little bit closer, that's where he may have been able to benefit. Obviously he was just a little bit behind, so Dado was beat up to stay there in the lead of the race. Good thing about the Monaco Grand Prix run here on the Jura circuit on AMS2, it is part of ANZCRL Combined Racing League's Triple Crown for the PC running. We did have it on the Xbox for Project Cars 2. We never had Monaco part of the Triple Crown. In the Xbox series, we had Le Mans, we had Indy 500, the Le Mans 24-hour, and the Bathurst 1000. And so when we've moved over here to Automobilista 2, we decided that we'll run the Monaco Grand Prix part of the Triple Crown like it is in real life, include the Indy 500 as it is in real life, and fingers crossed we can get Le Mans here on Automobilista 2, and then we can have the complete real life Triple Crown here in the virtual world. But until that time, we have the Bathurst 1000, because I think it's held dearly in our hearts here in Australia and New Zealand. And obviously that'll be run with the V8 supercars in the game, the Super V8s. Talking about the Indy 500, we have that up very, very shortly. So make sure that you head over to our website, aus-nzcrl.weebly.com. That's weebly.com, and you'll be able to find out all that information. We have obviously got it part of the IndyCar series that's currently run at the moment on the Sunday nights, so you can come and join us for the IndyCar series. We're about to hit round 2 this Sunday at Fontana Speedway. The entries are still open, but we finished the grand final on Saturday the 20th of May for round 6 at the Indianapolis 500. That'll be a complete 200 laps around the Indy 500 in using the Formula USA Gen 1 cars, which are DLCs, and we're using the unbelievable pack that you can as well get by A-Fry on Race Department, which replicates all the liveries of the 1995 PPG IndyCar World Series, and it absolutely brings those cars alive. AMS2 in their default liveries have replicated them in a slight variation. You can obviously identify the cars, but then having the full sponsors and everything with that pack. And a tremendous work by also Scar 666, who's actually running in the series with us here. He obviously contributed to those packs as well, doing some of the helmets and everything else. So it's great to see the community. But back to this racing here, you can just see Dado's now extending this lead just a little bit. And we're creeping up to halfway distance in this race. Nothing much really happening, but Commander Cirrus actually is slowly catching Woody Lizard, who is 23 seconds up the road. He's maintaining that gap to Sato, who's about 12 seconds. He's actually extended. It was around 10 seconds. So he's doing a great job out there, doing a 120. The fastest man actually on track that previous lap. He is flying a 120.780. I'm not too sure if that's the fastest lap of the race at this stage, but that is absolutely going hard at it. And I can confirm that is the fastest lap of the race at this stage, a 120.605. The next best is Dado Racer with a 120.702, and then followed by Sato with a 120.722 at this stage. Nothing in it amongst this whole field other than a few incidents obviously at the first opening lap. If we didn't have that incident, one would obviously see whether there has been some mistakes as well. Woody Lizard, Commander Cirrus and Sato have both all visited the pit lane even after the incident that was involved coming up here into the chicane out of the tunnel on lap 1. Where it was the concertina effect when I was in the braking zone here with a little bit of a check-up from Sato. Commander Cirrus was able to avoid him, but unfortunately Woody Lizard, seeing that Cirrus almost coming to a stop, wasn't prepared for it. Tagged him, which then on go, as we said, the concertina effect, which then brought him into the back of Sato with a bit of damage, so they both had to visit pit lane with Woody Lizard coming in a little bit later as well. So seeing as Commander Cirrus was on some quickly fast laps, why don't we jump on board and we'll jump right into his helmet view and just enjoy this lap around here with Cirrus. mistake from Commander Cirrus as we're riding on board. Straight through the chicane. As you can see, he probably had a bit of a compression lock-up. He went in that first gear fairly quick. Oh, and into the wall he goes as well. That's not a good one for us to be actually part of his on board, watching him perform out on track. We're just talking about how fast he was going, but he's in pits, so that's obviously going to go give this man maybe the opportunity to take position 5 as we just past halfway race distance. So Sato now up into 5th as Commander Cirrus is getting some repairs done to his car. So the Benetton now jumping up into 5th position. Sato did qualify in 3rd position. But as we saw at the start of the race as well, Christopher, the man that was on pole position, had a little bit of a slow getaway with Dado absolutely lighting the rears up and just gripping up. And I was able to take the lead of the race into turn 1 at Santi Vote where we are now. And then Christopher's only been able to follow Dado. Dado's had a little incident, or didn't have an incident, had a little bit of a moment, one would say, where if Christopher was up a little bit closer when he was going through Razkaz, you may have been able to see a challenge. And that's what it's all about here in the streets of Monaco. You need to make your own luck. You need to be there ready to pounce when another driver's misfortune gives you an opportunity to make a pass. That's what's so mentally draining as well. So at this stage, Christopher's thinking, well, it's not much use being so close up to him because it's going to make it harder and harder for him with a limited overtaking opportunities. But then you curse him when you see the driver in front make a little mistake, and all you do is end up being really close to him because he's been able to recover and you haven't been able to make advantage of the error. And here he comes. He's very fast through here, Christopher. Dado's maybe a little bit weary, knowing that he's had a bit of a problem through Razkaz. And here's the pressure. The pressure is now mounting. Dado will be sweating here. Less than 0.2 of a second separates these two. They are going at it. This is the point where Christopher would be hoping to see if he can down the inside. He's showing his nose. Coming up onto the back of Commander Cirrus as well as the lap traffic. This is John Slow's teammate. And this is where Dado seems to be able to pull away. The second sector, he seems to be faster than all of the other drivers in this McLaren, but then sector 3, this is where Christopher comes back at Dado, and sector 1 as well. So very strong points, and there are opportunities in the sector 1 to try and make a move if he can. As we said, they're not anticipated to have any pit stops in this race unless there's any damage. We've seen them flaunting with the possibility of damage, these leaders brushing the walls here and there. They've only been light touches, so they've been able to get away with damage. We got the Honda power of Dado Racer and the Williams Judd, the Judd engine for Christopher, and then the Ford engine of John Slow in the number 30, Lola LaRousse. See some of the marble build up starting to be on the offline of the circuit, which can be tricky. Oh, as you can see, both of them just brushing the wall on the exit of Razkaz, and this is it. This is where they can actually start to maybe get a little bit of problems with their suspension, maybe a little bit of toe, extra toe that they don't need. As you can see, these wishbones back in the day was so easy just to bend. They were built just for minimum weight, and they just did not like side impacts in any way, shape or form. You can just see the vulnerability of the look of the suspension componentry on these Formula One cars. Dado be able to hold on to the victory of this race, or will Christopher start mounting a challenge later on? He knows there's probably not much point doing it right now, but if he can try and keep Dado under the pump, try and get Dado into a little bit of a fatigue type error, because at this stage it doesn't look like lack of ability is going to cause any problems with these three drivers, including John Slow there in the background. He's keeping to pace with the drivers. There's nothing separating them at all, except for the tight confines of the streets here at Monaco. Lizard obviously has used the ability to use a track cut because he's done a 1:18, which obviously would not be a validated lap. He's actually closed the margin between himself and John Slow. It was a 1:10 behind. Oh, moment for Woody Lizard and into the wall. The rear brakes locking up. 25 laps of 39. Will this be an issue where he needs to visit the pit lane, or will he continue on? No, he's into the pit lane. So too much damage. And this is going to maybe put Sato, and depending how long it's going to be for damage repairs, Sato may be able to benefit here and come out in front. May just see Sato up into position 4, which he'd be very happy with after the dramas he's had during this race. It's still in the pit lane. It's not long here. Looks like there's some extensive repair time for Woody Lizard. He's moving now. He's actually exiting pit lane now, so he's just going to come out in front of Sato. As he's already up the top of the hill, so he's got a bit of a margin, 6-second gap on Sato. But we know how fast Sato can be, so we'll keep an eye on this at the moment. The battle there is a little bit still going at the front, but it's just extending out to just around that a second. That sort of maintaining of what we've been used to. But here comes Sato now around the casino hairpin. And we've only got 13 laps remaining. These drivers are a lap down. But Woody just made a mistake coming out of the swimming pool complex and had a pit stop, which has now livened up this battle for 4th position. If Sato can get his car going. Oh, what's happened there? He's obviously, he might already have some damage because he's struggling to keep it in a straight line. So this is good news for Woody Lizzie in the Zac Speed car. And we'll see if he goes into the pits. No, he doesn't. He continues on. So obviously he's going to fight for another day, but obviously he's losing time now to Woody Lizard. He almost lost 2 seconds, actually a second. 1.2 seconds that lap. I think it's time that we find ourselves on board with, we'll go to the cockpit cam so you can actually view what it's like with these drivers for a lap around. Close proximity of one another. Enjoy the chase to Dado. In first position, we're on board Christopher Razor in the number 6 Williams Judd. Lap around Monaco with not much more than a car length between these two drivers. With 9 laps remaining, the heat is on. John Slow, see what he can do. Now there's Sato is 10 seconds behind Woody Lizard and also only 10 seconds up from Commander Cirrus. So the 3 of these drivers could actually be together by the end of this race. You can see they're a couple of laps down, only on lap 28. The leaders are on lap 30. And Sato's just going to come around to start his 29th lap. Pushing as hard as they can go, these drivers who will pick up Dado Racer very shortly. Looking at all the buildings there. Here he comes. I think these drivers are going to be thankful it was only half race. This is, oh, big look here. There's a look up in the corner. That was close. There was contact there from both drivers. Christopher's trying to have a look. That's where I thought that there was a possibility of him overtaking there at the end of the first sector. But Dado had other thoughts. It's good to see that there's not too much damage on these cars. It looks like everything's okay. Tell you what, John Slow would have been licking his lips seeing that, thinking that an opportunity may come his way. They all want to be the inaugural winner here of ANZCRL Combined Racing League's Monaco Grand Prix. An annual event that we will be running every April, featuring the different makes of Formula One cars throughout Automobilista 2. Dado's only just coming off also some great racing in the Brazilian Stock Car Series that we ran as our first series in 2023, featuring the 2019 liveries, the spec car in the game. A lot of time in his race preparations, Dado, and it obviously shows, and this is what I was saying earlier, you can't just come in and join these events without much experience. You need that practice. You need to know the variables and how the car behaves. It's not the same all the time. It's slowly, things change throughout as the tyres wear. If you flat spot the tyres, you can actually start feeling them go off. Performance isn't there. The immersion you can get in this game is second to none as well. It's an enjoyable game, that's what I'm going to say. It's a lot of fun when you've got a good community, as we are building here at ANZCRL Combined Racing League. So make sure you come and join us over on our YouTube, on our website, aus-nzcrl.weebly, and also you can find us in links on Discord there, and we're also on Facebook in groups as well. It's a private group, so you do need to answer the questions. They do get reviewed. Just search ANZCRL on Facebook in the groups, and you will find us there. Answer the short 3 questions. Here we are on lap 34. 5 more to go. Is this where we're going to see Christopher mount his charge? As we got Sado, here we go, here's the battle. We got Sado just in front of Commander Cirrus. So he's dropped some time, so he's obviously made some mistakes, Sado, because he was only 10 seconds behind Woody Lizzie. You can see up the top right, he's now 17 seconds behind. And he was 10 seconds behind this man, Commander Cirrus, as he's having a look down. Oh, there we go, that's where we can use that track cut, that's what we were saying. So Sado's used it to his benefit to clear out, and he's cut that one as well, so he's using all his track cuts, and he's left now Sado behind. Commander Cirrus, I should say. That's where you can see them use that, the drivers. It was there in the rules. It was just to add a bit of variation. 3 times is all you've got. The 4th time, you'll be caught in for a drive-through penalty. Pit lane speed limit was set at 90, I think it was. Couldn't be 100% sure. No, it's 100 kilometres an hour. The gain you got from the track cuts would almost be similar to the drive-through in total time, but obviously it's given now, as you can see, Sado a little bit of breathing room in this late stage of the race. So let's just go back up front. We've got Dado Racer. And this is credit to Commander Cirrus as well. They've been slowly getting onto the back of Commander Cirrus to put him down another lap, but they have not been able to reel him in at that rate that you'd think. So Commander Cirrus is only lapping probably a second or so slower, and he's in position 6. So there was quality right through this field, but just unfortunately a few mistakes early on. Separated, and they've actually extended their gap, as you can see, from John Slow. So we get into the end of this race as we'll pick up Woody Lizard in position 4. He's all having a moment there, into the wall as he's trying to go through Mazanet and into Casino. Is that enough for damage? It looks like it is. It's crabbing. The car is crabbing. So he hasn't got too much longer to go. He's only 10 seconds in front of Sato. You'd think Sato may be able to reel him in here. Oh, there's a lot of problems there in that Zach Speed car of Woody Lizard's. He's obviously going to go into the pits for repair damage. He won't get to the end here without losing this position, one would think. Plus it's too dangerous to keep going around like this. Oh, it's on here for the lead of the race too. Oh, Dado's gone straight through, I think. So Dado's actually extended that gap there with 3 laps remaining, straight through. Oh, and there's Sato's. Oh, it's hit the wing. Dado's hit the rear wing of Sato's car. Hopefully that hasn't put damage on. Maybe it has. Woody's in the pits. So Sato was going to get Woody. Now Commander Cirrus, he's taken 4th position. How that time tables, how it's turned. Sato into the wall. And he's lost every part of the front and rear end of that car. He was on his way for 4th position until he found the wall. He was catching Woody at a rate of knots. Magical repairs done. Bang, done. Woody's in the pit lane as well, getting repairs done. But let's go back up to the front now. We've got Christopher trying to get Dado. Will we see Christopher come straight through the pits, through the chicane here to get that time back? One would think if he's still got his limits available. Let's keep on board. If he goes flat through this chicane. There he goes. And see, he can't make that move. He would have actually made a benefit there on Dado Racer. He had to get on the brakes. But if he could have timed it right, he would have had to run down through the exit of the chicane and could have made that move. So a little bit of a judgment error by Christopher. That was a golden opportunity for him. And this is why we had that track cut at Babel, the Joker laps, as Woody's just coming out of pit lane. Obviously he'll let these cars through without a problem. John Slow's keeping within touch of these guys, so he's obviously used to the Joker lap as well. Joker cuts, you might call them. And this is one of the things that could have, you could say, have given Christopher that opportunity to overtake Dado. But just got the timing wrong. On the exit, Dado was coming out, and basically, if Christopher stayed in it, there would have been an accident. As there goes Commander Cirrus. He is moving very, very slow. I don't know if there's a problem. So as you can see, there's no benefit of shortcutting the chicane right now because Christopher would have made a spot on Dado and would have had to give that back. But the previous lap, as we said, Dado was on exit and running wide, or not running wide, taking the racing line where Christopher had nothing to do other than to brake to avoid an incident. If it was only a half a second later, he would have still had the momentum to easily pass Dado down that little short straight before they come up into Lewis Chiron. So that's how close it was. On the last lap, here we go. Dado, Christopher. John Slow's in the pit lane. Something's happened to John Slow. Oops. Press the wrong button there, sorry guys. Hopefully we're back again. Just trying to pick up, he's in pit lane. So something has happened to John Slow and he's in pit lane now. Well, if we didn't have all those problems early on as well with the visit of pit lane from Commander Cirrus and Woody Lizard, they could have again got the position 3 on the podium, but John Slow, and here we go into the chicane, and Dado's gone straight through. Has Christopher followed? No, he hasn't. Maybe he's out of track cuts. So this is going to give Dado the victory, you would think. There's no coming back here now for Christopher. That's a little bit of a hard pill to swallow for Christopher. One would think maybe he's used his track cuts and he wasn't able to use any more. Oh, Dado's hit the wall. Dado hit the wall in that final run as well. But congratulations to Dado Racer, takes victory here of the 1988 Grand Prix. Alongside will be Christopher. Well done to him. John Slow's still in pit lane, so Commander Cirrus has come through. And Woody Lizard's come through as well with Sato. We're just waiting for Sato as the last man, as John Slow wouldn't be able to get out of pit lane at this stage because the race has ended. So he will finish in position 3, but a lap down. And Timmy obviously in pit lane as well as we speak, so oh, he's up, he's more than in pit lane. And Sato will take home 6th position. So there you go. What a run we have seen. Here for the 1988 Monaco Grand Prix. Dado Racer, your victor. Well done to this man. And there you go. So we'll just put pause on here. We'll go back and we'll have a look to see the end result. And there you go, Dado Racer, after 39 laps with a race time of 52 minutes and 59 seconds, has come out in front of Christopher Racer in that Williams jug. What a sensational run by those two. And obviously, we didn't see what happened to John Slow at the very end there. He actually visited pit lane, so he ended up being 2 laps. I think he should have only been 1 lap down actually on the board. So he should have had 38 laps, I would think, because he didn't cross the start finish line, probably behind the pits there, so that's a little graphical error there. And then Commander Cirrus with the fastest lap with a 120.589. We mentioned one time where it was a 120.6, so he bettered that again and took out the fastest lap of the race. So congratulations to Commander Cirrus. And then Woody Lizard in 5th in the Zach Speed car, and Sato 15 in 6th, with Timmy having that damage on lap 6 and retiring in the 2nd of the Williams. But what a run that was, and you can have a look at all the fastest lap times by right through the field. Everyone was in the 20s other than Timmy, who obviously would have been in the 20s, one would think, if he kept going. So that's the quality of the field that we did have. There wasn't much in it between everyone in that race, so it was just mistakes that was the end result. So there's the winners there, guys. What an awesome event it was. And you can see, well done to Dado Racer, taking the victory of the inaugural Monaco Grand Prix, and cements his place on his way to maybe the Triple Crown. He's got the Indy 500 and the Bathurst 1000 to win here on Automobilista 2 to actually receive the trophy. I might add, it is actually a proper trophy as well. Will go his way. 2nd place, Christopher Racer, in that Williams Judd, and then a terrific drive by John Slow in the Lola LaRousse car, the number 30 car. Hope you've enjoyed the replay of our Monaco Grand Prix we ran on Easter Saturday. It's been a while. I should have done it a lot earlier, but at least it's up there, and hope you enjoyed. Until next time, I've been your host, Neil Haynes. Cheerio.